Hi, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to start this channel. This will be my first video up. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about crocheting. It's one of my very close heart loves. I'm actually going to be talking about this blanket. I feel like this blanket, which is not done by the way, I have to weave in a lot of ends. But I'm going to be doing that over the course of the next few weeks, so I will keep you guys updated when it is complete. This blanket was very fun to make. At first, it was fun, I'm not gonna lie. When I first started and I got the yarn, I was super, you know what? Let me rewind. I forgot a ton of stuff just now. So I have this app on my phone and it's called Crochet Studio, I believe. I use this app to help me determine what pattern, what colors. I mostly use this app to do color palettes. I am not the best person at putting colors together and then like being like, oh, look at this art I created. I made these colors and I thought of them on my own. I'm not very good at doing that. So I found this app and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make something out of it. I was already using the app for a while to put colors together when I was making other things like hats or socks or whatever the case may be. But I was like, I want to make a bigger project and I think it would be really fun to make a blanket, but I want a bunch of colors, but I don't know how to put those colors together. And with fall obviously coming up, I thought this was the perfect kind of like pumpkin spice. The purple kind of made it a little subtle, but you still get that fall vibe because of the orange. So this app is really cool because it can give you patterns as far as squares, granny squares, one large square, or multiple squares. It can also do different patterns for stripes. It'll allow you to see your colors together, which I think is very cool because you might really truly see what you are envisioning, but you can see it on the apps. So here I'm gonna insert just what the app looked like as far as after I chose the color. After you choose your colors, you can also choose what kind of pattern you want. I decided to go with a quilt. I really wanted that quilt kind of vibe, and that's why I came up with this. And so I did smaller squares. You can pick the size of your blanket, how big or small you want it. You pick the number of rounds that you want in each square, and then after you do that, it will calculate how much yarn you need for every color. So that was a really neat like tool to know how much yarn I needed to buy to make this size blanket. Then it also showed you where the placement of each square was. I wanted my blanket to look exactly like the screen, and so I continued to follow what they were telling me to do, the advice that they gave, and I bought the amount of yarn that they said to buy, and I followed the squares, the number of squares that they told me for each color, and it worked out well, obviously. So yes, like I was saying in the beginning, this blanket was so much fun because just crocheting granny squares I don't really have a problem with, and they're just solid color squares, and so I didn't have an issue with crocheting any of the squares. It was really fun. It wasn't until I started sewing the squares together. I sewed the squares together by using an invisible stitch, which means on both sides you are unable to see the stitching. So this side is the front, obviously it's flush, it's flat, but once I weave in all the ends, you won't be able to see anything from this side either. And so I really enjoy the invisible stitch. I also used purple throughout the entire stitching, and you don't see the purple. Obviously you see it because my ends are not woven in, but that's what I used and you are not able to see it. So that's also really neat. Here I decided to take you guys along with me to show you my process. Of course, I bought the yarn first. I got my yarn from Michael's. I really enjoy using their yarn. And then I crocheted the granny squares in each color that I needed. I believe total I had 56 granny squares. My white, my orange, and then obviously my blue and my purple. So here I just show little clips of me starting and me finishing. Obviously towards the end it does feel a little tiring continuing to crochet the same thing very small over and over and over. But once you get to the point where you're almost there, you start feeling a little bit better. So here I'm showing you I have all my squares, and I just can't believe that these squares right here are going to make a full blanket. Here I am showing you how I am placing each square. I'm following the pattern that that the computer gave me. I placed the squares exactly where the app told me to place them, and I started sewing them together. I did each row first, and then I sewed together each row together after sewing each individual together to make a row. So here I'm showing you I will be sewing each row long ways down, and that part took quite some time. It was not fun, but once it was finished, it looked gorgeous. And then once I got to this point, I knew I was going to need a border. It was really the last step, and I couldn't wait to crochet again. So here I show you everything complete. Obviously my ends are not woven in, but it was awesome to know that everything is put together, and the last thing I need to do is weave in the ends. Really neat option, and I think that for anybody who doesn't know how to put color palettes together well, or you enjoy doing blankets, or you just want some inspiration to do something else, I think this was a great project for that. All in all, it was a really fun project. I love the color palette that it came up with. It was during the crocheting, the actual crocheting part, it was really fun. I didn't mind it at all. I think that for beginners, this would be a perfect project. With the sewing, I'm not sure. I wish if you have like another way to attach granny squares, please let me know. Leave a comment down below and let me know like what method it is that you use. As the invisible stitch, I think it's a genius stitch, but it just was not fun. Anyway, I just thought this would be a really fun introduction to have this be my first video, and I hope you subscribe. I hope we can engage. I hope I can be a part of this YouTube community. I'm super excited to be here. Please leave some like comments or questions of things that I can answer down below. That will totally help me, obviously. And I just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys see me on my next video. Bye.